Hello and welcome to episode 1 of the Do It For Yourself podcast. I am your host, Foxanne.
And I am your host, Laura, and this is a podcast for creatives by creatives.
Yes, we've not rehearsed that.
No.
More than once, have we not?
I think I did it the wrong way around, actually.
You did.
Yeah.
You did.
Hold on. Rewind. This is a podcast by creatives.
No, actually, you did it
for
right.
Creatives. Oh,
This
did
is
I?
a podcast for creatives, by creatives, so it's for them by. For first, by
Right,
last.
okay. We've got it.
You got to bear with us. This is the first episode and we are still in the teething stages. So this podcast is a mix of realness and feel-good vibes from your two new Northern besties.
Yep, that's right.
That's our little tagline. If you want to keep that, save that. Your two new Northern besties, that's us.
So today's episode is going to be all about us, how we got into the industry, how we met, what we do, all that sort of stuff.
All
Thought it would be
the first
thing.
date questions. So
Yeah.
it's as if we're on a first date with you.
Yeah,
We're on
exactly.
like a double date because we've known each other for ages now. What's it coming up to? Like 9 months?
Something like that. We've known each other online a bit longer.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about how we met first?
Yeah, let's talk about how we met first. So Laura slid into my DMs and was like, oh my God, Roxanne, you're amazing. I just am obsessed with you. Please, can you be my friend? That cackle.
I did. I was obsessed. No, that's not how it worked.
I can't remember now. What did we say? So you won one of my giveaways.
I did. So I won
This
your
was-
2,000 follower giveaway.
Which was in April 2019, I think we found.
No, 2020.
2020 was
It was
April.
just at the start of lockdown. I remember I was living at my mum's.
Yes, it was just at the start of lockdown. Oh, God. And then we worked out that you live down the road from me.
Yeah.
No, first of all, we worked out that you live in Manchester.
Yeah.
Very hard to find friends when you're older.
Yeah, that's very true. Out of education.
Out of
It's hard to
education,
find friends.
Especially when you're self-employed as well.
Yeah.
It is hard to find someone who does the same thing as you, which I think...
And knows what you're going through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing being friends with someone, but if you've got completely different jobs, there's always that aspect of the relationship where you both can't really understand each other. And I never really had anybody creative to speak to, really, other than uni, but we'll get into that. But yeah, no, so then when we found out that we were both from Manchester, we found out that actually he lived down the road, like
Yeah.
a 10-minute walk, if that.
Yeah, so you'd said, oh, whereabouts are you from? And I was like, oh, I'm in Urmston, but I'm about to move to Sale. And then you went, oh my God, I live in Sale. And I was like, this is where I moved to, blah, blah, blah. And then we were chatting about where we were.
For a bit. And then we didn't really speak to each other then. Lockdown really got intense. So it was kind of like I was just trying to crack on with uni and stuff like that. And you was obviously moving, which is chaotic.
Yeah, and lockdown for me, it was really bad. Like, I'm quite bad on my phone anyway. I'm really bad at remembering to reply to people. I'll go into why later.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really bad on my phone anyway, and I'm not so good on my social media. Like, I could do so well on social media, I think, but I just always forget to post, forget to reply to people. It's really bad. I need like a social media manager.
Someone to like reply.
Yeah, but it was worse in lockdown, so I wasn't really on my phone.
Yeah, see, and I have an issue where I feel like I'm constantly bothering people. So if you weren't responding, I wouldn't then message you again to remind you, because obviously we didn't really know each other that well.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't want to double message you just in case you thought that I was annoying.
I never would think that ever.
I know.
You worry.
I know that now, but before I was like, oh, I don't want to annoy you because, yeah, whatever. So then, when was it then we met?
It was this summer because it was hot.
It was hot.
I think it was hot.
And then I think I was like, let's just meet up rather than trying to have conversations online because it's not going anywhere. Let's just meet up. And then we met up and it was weirdly normal.
Yeah, I remember saying, wasn't it, the other day? I think we met up outside Boots, and then Roxanne said to me, oh, I need to go inside to get something from Boots. I was like, oh, okay. So we were just sort of like wandering around looking for something. I can't remember what it was.
But it was just like
normal, like I just met a friend, because we've been chatting for a while.
Yeah, but it weren't like, hi, oh, where shall we go? I think because I knew that I needed
Yeah.
to go to Boots, it kind of cut that out of question. It was kind of like, right, well, oh, hi, I need to go and get something from Boots. And then it was kind of like the introduction was
Just dead
obliterated,
normal.
just to be like, no,
Yeah.
like, let's not do an awkward, oh, what should we do? And then from there, we was like, oh, let's go and get a drink. And we had a glass of wine. And I had a cider, you had a glass of wine, and we were just chatting.
Yeah.
And that was dead nice. And then since then, we've met up, obviously, before. Because I would say that we've only really got quite close over the past, I'd say, 2 months, 3 months, really.
Yeah. When we were just, I think there was a day where maybe we're having a bit of a down day and you FaceTime me and I was like, oh, just FaceTime me, this is cool. And then we had like a dead deep chat for like 2 hours or something. And I was like, she's great.
I think that was then because it kind of passed that like surface level friendship. It was kind of like, because I didn't have a clue who to message, and we've had the conversation before being like, because we're big into being selfish and like being very like
Look after yourself.
well, yeah, but like consensually agreeing to be each other's agony aunts. Because I think it's one thing if like you want to ring your friend up and like have a vent at them, but if they're not mentally in the right headspace, that can be very have a negative impact on them. Because it's kind of like, yeah, you're venting to them, but what am I going to, like, what are they going to do with that information? So I think we'd had that conversation. I remember ringing you being like, I really need to vent at someone. Can I vent at you? And it's all right if you say no. And she was like, vent away. Vent away. It'll be fine. I think you actually did, because you do this. You go like this.
I'm a very like visual, like handsy person.
But you're very like delicate with it, where I'm not. I'm like, I like clap my hands and I'm like clicking
I'm
and
quite
I point.
camp.
But you're very
I'm
like
oh,
flowy, as if like, if you are just listening to the audio version of this, we are currently just frantically moving our hands around. But if you're watching us on the YouTubes, you can see exactly what we're doing. But yeah, no, so I think that was kind of, that took our relationship to the next level. And it was kind of like, right, we're past this surface level now. Like we've got more in common than just being illustrators as well.
Yeah, 100%. We've got a lot of different experiences in life that are the same.
Because what's the age? So I'm 26 and you're 28?
I'm 27, but I'm going to turn 26. I can't believe I'm going to turn 26. I'm Benjamin Button. I'm reversing. I've only got a few years left. I'm 28 in, how long will it be now? It's the 7th of Feb when I turn 28.
Oh.
So we're recording in December now. So in like a month or two. Yeah. 28.
I don't know why I thought you was 28.
So wait, am I only a school year older than you?
No, I think 2, because I've only seen, it was my birthday like 2 days ago.
Yeah. So I'm 2 school years older. Not that we should really be talking about this.
No,
anymore,
but I relate ages to that.
I do, yeah.
Which I find. But yeah, no. So I think that rounds up how we've met, and we're just constantly.
We were like, let's do a podcast. We've got so much to talk about. We'd always be talking in depth about different things in the industry, and we were like, why don't we talk about this with a little microphone each?
Exactly. And I think as well, it's not, obviously it's for creatives by creatives, but there'll be episodes where it's more general, like speaking about mental health or like what we're doing, or like spirituality or something, if that's what we want to talk about, or with you with your
ADHD journey,
and maybe like potential like health things in future. So it's kind of like we've not really set, obviously it has some kind of structure, and we have an idea what we want to talk about. Like we want to talk about how to brand yourself and how to not limit your beliefs and kind of that kind of pricing. Yeah, exactly. And but also we are open to having these conversations about, because I'm a pretty open book. I would say you are as well.
I'm an oversharer, which comes with ADHD.
Me too. I'm a bit of an oversharer.
Proper oversharer.
Especially after a cider.
What did you say, sorry?
Especially after a cider. I'm a bit of an oversharer. I'm like, guys, whoever wants to hear it, listen to my life.
Maybe that's what we should do. Have a cider before we start. I don't know. That'll be it's not a good thing for me.
But yeah, no. So I think that, is there anything else you want to say about how we met?
No, one thing I was going to say. What were you going to say then?
I was going to ask you what your first impressions of me were.
So, just before I do that, I was going to say, when we came out of Boots, I said to you, I don't know if this sounds really weird, but I feel like I've known you my whole life. And then I thought, oh my God, why did I just say that?
It's like word from it, but I felt exactly the same way.
Oh, did you? Because you went, oh, do you? And I thought, she doesn't feel it.
I was so uncomfortable. So the issue with me, I'm very like, so people who know me are like, oh God, she's a bit fucking loud. But anybody who doesn't like know me, I'm very like, I'm so socially awkward that I overcompensate being socially awkward, that people think that I'm not socially awkward. So yeah, so when you said it feels like I've known you forever, and I was like, oh, does it? That was me being awkward. That wasn't me being like, oh my God.
No, that's something I would say as well. No, but I did think that. I thought, why have I said that? I thought, have I just ruined this potential friendship? But no, obviously I didn't.
I love it.
Yeah.
So go on, tell me your first impression of me.
So I remember thinking...
Is that a really narcissistic thing to ask?
No,
I love asking people this. I'm like, I want to know how you perceive me. Because obviously I can look at myself in the mirror, but I've seen myself hundreds of thousands of times.
Do you know what I find really interesting? I read somewhere, I think it was on Twitter or something, there is hundreds and thousands of versions of you out there. There's the version that you see of yourself, the version that the lollipop lady sees of you, the version that your boss sees of you, the version that your boyfriend sees of you. Like, every single person has a different version of you in their head.
But you got to think, in like past experiences, you perceive that type of person differently as well. Yeah,
exactly, depending on the situation.
So if you walk past someone on the street and accidentally barge into them, then next time they see you, they're probably like,
or even if they don't, they've got a version of themselves in your head that is not you. Like, is there an us? Like, is there a real me? Because what I know of me, somebody else doesn't. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love deep shit like that. I love it so much. Right, but yeah, I'm going to ask you the same question anyway, so it's not narcissistic, it's fine.
Okay, go on.
So I thought that you were really chill and really cool.
Okay.
I thought you were dead laid back and like down to earth, like a proper northern girl, like, you know, not snobby or anything. I thought you were great. I felt like we were on the same level, and I didn't think that I would be judged by you. You know,
oh, I like that.
Yeah,
that's nice.
And I hope that I give off that impression too. Like, that's what I hate the most, like feeling like I'm being judged. And I felt like you just would not like go home to your boyfriend and go, oh, she was like this and she was like that. You know, like no. I felt like that was not going to happen. I thought you were just really nice.
That makes me very happy.
Yeah. What about me?
Well, I thought you was a right bitch. Imagine if I said that. No.
Imagine. I didn't like you at first.
Just like, oh God.
I'd be devastated.
No, I thought the same. Like I said, like I was more anxious about what I was saying than taking in what you was like.
Yeah.
So I think after once we sat down and had something to eat, that's when I was like, oh, like, yeah, I can, like, I'm enjoying this.
Yeah.
I think you're a very nice person. Should we introduce ourselves now?
Yeah.
I think.
Do you want to start? Do you want me to start?
You can start.
Okay, so I'm Laura. I am an illustrator, designer and mural artist.
It's dead awkward introducing yourself, innit? Do you not find? I'm like, I do a bit of everything.
I know. I feel like as well, like whenever I introduce myself and people say, oh, what do you do? I hate that because I feel like we're so much more than what we do. But if anyone says, oh, you know, if I say I'm an illustrator, people will say, oh, what do you illustrate? And I just don't know what to say. I never know what to say.
I get, oh, what books?
Yeah, like people just think it's like books like illustrated by, like, you know, like children's books and stuff.
And then I kind of go into it and it's like, oh. And then by then they've only asked me because they're being polite, and yeah, I've told them my life story of how I've started and what I've done, and they're just like, yeah, I'm going to get back to making you coffee now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I just never know what to say. I'm like, illustrate anything, because it's like, it's more so I've got my own style. If someone says to me, can you illustrate something to put on a t-shirt, I'll illustrate something to put on a t-shirt. If someone says to me, can you illustrate a book cover, I'll illustrate a book. I'll do anything, but just in my own style. So when I say it, I'm like, oh, anything. It just makes, I don't know how that...
Yeah.
It just makes me sound like I don't know what I'm doing.
Then, also, I don't know if I'm using the right word. Like, am I an illustrator? Am I an artist? Am I a creator? Like, so there's been like a massive divide on Instagram at the minute about graphic designers saying that graphic design is not illustrators and stuff like that. And I think it's just, I don't know, I think whatever you're comfortable calling yourself, you call yourself that. Like, it's whatever fits for you.
And you can be an illustrator and graphic designer.
Yeah.
Sometimes they do go hand in hand.
Yeah. I'd just say I'm a creative. I'm a creative person.
An all-round creative person.
All-round creative gal.
Yeah, love it. So I mainly do digital illustration. I do some design as well. Sort of, I feel like illustration and design go hand in hand.
Yeah.
It's a bit of the same.
For anybody listening who doesn't quite know what you mean by design, do you want to explain what you mean by design?
Like what I do in terms of design.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like... So I've just got a job come through that I'm possibly doing in January, and someone's asked me to do some designs for a t-shirt, like t-shirts and hoodies and stuff. So I feel like that's more design, because you sort of, it's designed for purpose, but also it's an illustration. Yeah. So it's really hard. Do you know what I mean? So I'm still a designer, but I'm an illustrator as well. I'm not just doing it for digital. I'm doing it for products. It's really hard to explain it.
Because they all kind of blur into each other. I'd love to have somebody on who does know what kind of bracket everybody kind of fits into. But to me, it's kind of like this, like art and design is kind of this weird grey area that like everything kind of helps and like hands in itself, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and it's really helpful to give yourself a role so that people can find you easy and people know exactly what you're doing. It's clear, but it's hard. Like a mural artist is very different to an illustrator. Yeah. But then also maybe it's not, because you have to illustrate the wall digitally first and then do it. So it's... Yeah.
it's kind of like they all have the same initial element, but they all have different skill sets
and different functions.
Exactly, as well. So it's like, it's all right drawing something on like Illustrator or like Procreate or something like that, but then as soon as you've got to like project it and work large scale, that's a completely different set of skills.
A very difficult skill.
Like with paint as well, going from digital mediums to paint and spray paint and pens and stuff like that on a large scale, it works differently in the way that your workflow is different as well.
Yeah, and your day-to-day is different too. And it's a lot of fun though. I do really enjoy it. So that's me. I do mainly, so my style is very it was very bright. I use very bold colours, but now I'm sort of swaying towards the pastel sort of style. Yeah. I love pastels. I just love pastels so much. I'm very on brand today. I'm wearing a purple like lilac blazer if you're listening on Spotify or
wherever you're
listening. Yeah, so I do like that sort of thing, and I mainly draw. Well, I always draw. Like, I'm gonna say independent women. I just love independent, like fabulous women. I just love it. That's the main thing that I like to do.
Yeah, you're more like a... Not characters. Characters the wrong word, but you're more portrait based and like typography based.
Yeah. I do struggle with typography sometimes, but that's mainly because I've never really delved into it. Yeah. But I would really like to do it. I'd love to do hand lettering. I would love to do hand lettering. When I see like the work in progresses, you know, on the reels and stuff, and on TikToks. Oh my god, I love it. I love them. It was so difficult as well. Like, you look at it and you think, oh, it's just like letters, but when you really try and do it, it's so difficult.
It is difficult, like spacing and stuff like that. I've seen some comments on TikTok of being like, oh, it's just drawing. It's just cursive drawing. It's like,
no, it's not.
It's definitely not.
Try and do it yourself.
I'd like to know how you got into doing what you're doing. Tell us.
Yeah, as we were saying before, we both have been drawing and creating since we were very young. Yeah. So literally from the age of 4, I think my grandma and granddad still have a picture that I drew when I was 4 years old on the wall. It was like this stick person, but that had like, I can't really explain it, but it was like a cool little stick person, but like you could tell that it was cool, if that makes sense. It wasn't just a stick person. And it had different colours on it, and I'm sure she had like really long hair, and it was all made from circles. Can't really remember. Obviously, I can't remember drawing it. I just remember it being on my granddad's wall. But so I've literally been drawing for fun since then. Everyone would be playing outside on the road. And I'd be sitting inside drawing people. Yeah, I used to draw girl bands. I used to make them up.
Oh, I love that.
I'd give them all names. I'd put them all in fancy clothes. I never realised growing up that I could draw fantastic women as a job.
I know. It was just never heard of.
No,
really,
it wasn't like, it
was
wasn't
it?
even discussed. It was, you know, what do you want to be when you're older? And I wanted to be a watch repairer.
Okay.
When I was really young.
That's a vibe.
Do you know what it was though? You know Timpson's?
Yeah.
It was Timpson's in Stratford-Arndale, and my granddad took me to Timpson's to get his, was it his shoes, or it might have been his watch, because they do both, don't they?
Yeah, do a bit of everything there.
Yeah, he's getting his watch fixed, and I don't know why, it was just, gave me a really nice, like, feeling. I think it was maybe because I was with my granddad, and we went in there a few times, and there was this, like, little thing at the front. It was like this little figure of a man, and a shoe, and a nail, and a what's it called, a hammer.
Yeah.
And he was like, he was moving his hand, so he was like hammering a nail into the shoe,
And he was like, that is what I want to do.
and yeah, I don't know why, but anyway, I found out the guy who owns that one only hires ex-cons to give them a second start in life.
Yeah, so I was going to just say this. So me and my boyfriend was looking into Timpson's, because he was saying about Timpson's is like one of the best companies to work for,
Yeah.
like, practically in the world, apparently.
Really?
Because they always make sure that a percentage of their employees are ex-cons to give them a second lease of
Right.
life.
Yeah.
Because obviously not many people or not many companies do hire ex-cons. I'm just kind of trying to remember, but if I remember us speaking about getting mental health days and getting like help with buying a first car and things like that. Like, it's a massive, like,
Wow.
family company, apparently.
That's so nice. Oh my
remember
God, I
correctly.
might go back to my dream.
Well, that's why when you was like Timpson's, I was like, oh, it was only like a couple of weeks ago when me and Max were speaking about that. But yeah.
Well, my mum told me, I think I was under the impression that you like had to be an ex-criminal to work there. So I was like, well, I'm definitely not going to live out that dream.
No.
Like, I'm not going prison first for my job.
Just to get a job.
Yeah. But yeah, that was my dreams. That obviously that only lasted a few years. When I
Yeah.
got into being a teenager, so like GCSEs, for example, I took like all creative stuff.
Yeah.
I took geography as well. You would never know that now. I don't know what's left and right and how to get down the road. It's really bad. If anyone asks me for directions, I'm like,
panic.
I panic and I say, I'm sorry, you're better asking someone else, because I can't do this. And I'll know where it is, but I just can't give direction. So yeah, you would never know that I did geography. What else did I do? I did IT, which was pretty easy. Art and design, obviously, and textiles, because then I sort of realised when I was drawing these like gorge women in clothes, I thought, well, this is what fashion designers do.
Yeah.
They draw gorgeous women in clothes and then the clothes get made. Obviously, that is not how it happens.
No.
So I thought, this is what I love to do. This is the only way I can do it. So I ended up in college, I did textiles, I did art, and I did media studies. But I knew going into college that I wanted to do fashion design.
Yeah.
So I knew already. I should have really opened my mind a little bit more to different things. But that's what I wanted to do. So I went into that and I picked those for a reason. Did fashion design at Leeds Uni.
Lovely.
I loved Leeds. I made loads of amazing friends at that. I had the best time. I really did. I had the best time ever. And I don't regret any of it for a second, even though the course was really, really tough. People would never believe it.
Was it University of Leeds or was it Leeds?
University of Leeds,
Right,
yeah.
okay.
Depending on what uni, when you do a creative subject, you either don't have to do a dissertation or the dissertation's quite small. Mine was still 12,000 words.
Yeah. Mine was about the same.
Yeah. Because you were uni of Huddersfield, right?
Yeah.
So it's because they were like Russell Group unis, you still have to do all that like academic side, which I didn't want to do. I just wanted to be doing all the fun stuff.
Yeah.
But even the fun stuff was difficult.
Yeah.
Because you go to your seminars and they look at your work that you've been working on for like a whole week, staying up all night crying about it, and then they'll say, this is not right, do it again. And
Yeah.
I'm like, no. And I don't, oh God, I cried so many tears. I cried so many tears during that course. I can't even tell you. And I was like, am I even good at this anymore?
Yeah.
Do I want to do it? Anyway, I stuck at it. I did a sandwich year, well, like an industry year. So I did mine in London at first, but then I ran out of money. So I had to come back to Manchester. Right at the bottom of my overdraft.
Love that.
Loved it. So yeah, I did a month at Miss Selfridge, which was really fun. That's when I sort of realised that I liked print design.
Yeah.
So I was working closely with the print designer and she was showing me like how to do it. So I made a few little prints. Obviously, didn't end up going on any products because
still,
I was
it's
there a month.
experience, though.
Yeah. And then I did 5 or 6 months, I think, at French Connection menswear. I was sort of sending off the CADs, which is like computer aided design. So the flat drawings, that like technical drawings that you would send to the factory. So I'd do the technical drawing, and then like they would then put all the stuff together, like the fabric and blah 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 blah, and then send it off. So I was doing a lot of that and sort of like just admin things, making sure that all the fabrics were okay and sending off information to Turkey or wherever.
Yeah.
So that was a really good experience. And then I went back to Manchester because I ran out of money. Yeah, so I had a part-time job at the same time in a restaurant. I think it was in Stratford, Westfield, so it was really busy. It was Las Iguanas, and it was really stressful doing that as well at the same time as working ridiculous amounts of hours. I had a little bit of a nervous breakdown. Like, I don't say that lightly either. It really was. I cried. And it got to the point where like I was walking across the restaurant and I didn't know what foot went where, because I was like that disorientated, and I wasn't eating because I was too tired when I got in to cook. So I'd just go to bed, and it was one of them. So I ended up coming home, and I did another internship in Manchester, where obviously I'm from. So I just sort of commuted into town every day, lived at home, and I did that in what do you call it now? An agency. Fashion agency, like, so all the boutiques would come in, have a look at all the clothes that we had on display from different brands, and like I would take appointments with them and sell them and organise appointments with the other buyers, you know, all that sort of thing. So it wasn't really to do with fashion design, but it was good to sort of get the experience and put it on my CV. Final year of uni came, worst year but best year of my life ever. Because I finally, after 8 years, became single, and it was the best time ever. I just didn't have to answer to anyone. It was amazing, and I just could do whatever I wanted.
How old were you at this point?
21. And I just loved it. It was the best year ever. Like, I just became myself. I wasn't in a box anymore. I felt like when I was in that relationship, I was in a box, and I came out of that box, and I just really flourished, and I worked really hard. So the first semester I got really bad results, and I was looking to get a 2-2. And then the last semester I did so well, and I got top first in everything, that in the end I ended up getting a 2-1.
Right,
so like a high 2-1. So I really I worked so hard. It was ridiculous. It was amazing. And the course was horrible. It was horrible, and I don't recommend it, to be honest. I really don't, because they don't understand. They give you the work, but they don't understand how much they're giving you. They really don't. They just expect you to do it, and I'm like, you don't understand like how much you're asking people to work. It was ridiculous.
Did you have a part-time job as well alongside?
No, I couldn't. And I couldn't. I don't think I knew anybody who did that course that had a part-time job. It would be impossible. Absolutely impossible. I worked over the weekends. I went into uni to work like 12-hour days over the weekends. When it got close to deadlines at the end, so the 2 girls that I live with, luckily we did the same course, so we'd be in the cluster, 24-hour cluster together. We'd finish at like 1 o'clock in the morning sometimes, come back home, make all of our meals for the next day, 3 meals for the next day, get up at like 9 o'clock, go into uni and do it all again.
Oh no.
I know. I'm so sorry. I'm being so negative.
You're not being negative. That's how it is. You're like, this is what the whole podcast is about.
Yeah, and I don't want to scare anyone, because I did have the best time, but it did take its toll on my mental health, for sure. And then obviously I graduated with a 2-1. I then didn't do anything for the summer. It was amazing. The last time I had a nice break.
It's like, this is amazing.
If you're listening to this and you're at uni, make the most of it, because you're going to go into the real world soon, and you're not going to be able to get out of it. Oh, no, that's not true, because I did a gap year.
Like rewind.
So after I graduated, didn't do anything in the summer, and then I got a job at Hollister as a brand representative, but really I was just a sales advisor.
Is it true? Completely off topic. Is it true that you can't apply for Hollister? You have to be
No, so you can apply.
Okay, I remember someone telling me, I remember going in Hollister for the first time, like 4 years ago, and someone was like, did you know that you can't apply for a job here, you have to be scouted? And I'm
Well,
like,
yeah, you do. People do get scouted. So I was actually having a conversation with one of the managers there who'd been there for years, and she was saying, right, that you had to get scouted and you had to send a picture of yourself into head office, like the San Francisco head office, to make sure that you were good looking enough to work at Hollister. And they even had to take, because everyone had to wear flip-flops, like even in the dead of winter. You had
beauty is so subjective though. Like,
you had to take pictures of your feet and send
What?
them to head office. Yeah, you had to be stunning. Like, luckily, I mean, it wasn't like that when I joined.
What?
Because if they'd seen pictures of my feet, I would never have got the job. But yeah, so it's a bit better now. I took my CV in and then they were like, oh yeah, we've got interviews next week, come in. And then that's how I got it. So you don't have to be crazy good looking.
No, but I mean, you are crazy good looking.
Oh, thanks so much. But yeah, that's not the case anymore. So I think I worked there until Christmas, and then I started the first week of January at a design job. So I did scarf designs, but obviously mainly it was print design, which was great because I really wanted to go into print design after learning a bit more about it at Miss Selfridge. So yeah, I really loved that. I did that for nearly 2 years, then I went on a gap year, as you know.
Gap year.
I went on a gap year to Australia. I did my farm work and everything. I don't even know where I'm from right now.
I don't know what
was a really awful accent. Please ignore me. So I went on my gap year, went to Australia. Me and my boyfriend George went together. We did the whole thing, worked for like 6 months in a beautiful beach town. I stayed fully away from the industry. I didn't do anything creative. I did a few illustrations. I started my illustration account on Instagram, but I didn't really do very much anything. Went around in a camper van. It was absolutely fabulous.
Sounds amazing.
Every day that I wake up in this country, I'm gutted that I'm not waking up in my camper van to a sunrise, sorry. Yeah, I'm devastated, absolutely devastated. But anyway, we're here.
I love how you love that, because to me, Australia just seems, it's not for me. It seems too hot. I like these creepy crawlies. I don't know if I'm like generalising, but I've just heard so many, like, there's so many animals that can kill you there. Like, what can kill you in the UK?
But I never really saw
animal-wise.
I think I did get bit by a spider once. But it wasn't a poisonous spider. I was all right.
That is not for me.
I was fine. I touched a tap outside in the dark when it was raining. So I was in the camper van, and obviously that's where I got the water, the tap
You're
outside.
making my skin itch.
And obviously I went like, I think me and George had just had an argument. So I like went on it full force, and he was walking away, and I just went, George! Like, I felt, it was like a sting almost. It was awful. And like, I couldn't bend my these two fingers, and I couldn't, like, this was all like swollen. It was really awful. I was like proper crying. George like ran back. He was like, Laura, what's happened? I was like, a spider's bit me. And you could see like the little red dot. Like, it was definitely a spider. He still thinks that it was a wasp, but I would have felt a furry wasp. Yeah, it was a little spider, and it was fine in the end. But so we knocked on this RV next to us, and this family were like, what's going on? And we were like, it was the worst thing that had ever happened to us, basically. We were freaking out. And they were sort of just like, I didn't realise at the time because I was so frantic. And George was like, they were looking at us like, what are these English people doing? Like, it's just a little spider bite.
No, but I would have freaked out though, because you don't know. That's it. Like, if you would have got a spider bite, I don't know about you, but if I get a spider bite in this country, I don't really think much of it. But as soon as it goes to like somewhere abroad where I don't really know the animals,
do you? So, but they were really reassuring, and they put like ice on me. I think I called the doctor, and they said I was fine. They give me ice and like a tablet or something for the pain. Probably a paracetamol.
Give you some ice and some paracetamol and be on your merry way.
And I was fine in the end. A couple of days later, I was all right. But yeah, so. You are right about the creepy crawlies, but it's so worth it. And when we do eventually move over there in years to come, in like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, you're going to come visit and you're going to change your mind.
I will. I am going to come visit. Not for an extended period of time now, so I can kind of wean myself into it.
Yeah, but you've always got a bed at our place.
Oh, I love that. That melts my heart. So what did you do when you got back from Australia then?
So what, sorry?
So what did you do once you got back from Australia?
Yeah, so we did the Australia thing. Then the whole plan was to travel Asia for as long as possible, get to as many places, because that was my dream. My dream was like, I just want to go wherever we please. So like, so we started off in Bali, and then we were like, where should we go next? So we went Vietnam. Then we didn't have a long enough visa to stay in Vietnam, so we had to go out of Vietnam to come back. So like, let's go Cambodia. George ended up going home because I'm sure he won't mind me saying he was quite anxious about being on the road, especially in like countries that were a bit poorer than ours, and it was very unknown territory sort of thing.
Right, yeah.
And he was just getting anxious about travel, and I think he'd just been gone for too long. So he was like, I'm gonna go home, and I was like, fair enough, you go home, look after yourself, be back with your family, and I'll do it on my own. I was so excited. I was like, I'm gonna do this on my own. And I was just like, I was scared and I was really excited. But then George got ill and then I got ill, and we'd realised afterwards that we both had dengue fever from a mosquito. And it basically, if anyone's had COVID, it's worse than COVID. Like, I had, oh my God, like, I can't even explain it. It was just the worst illness I've ever had in my life. Like, hot and cold sweat. I was literally, there was times where like I'd gone into the hostel and I ended up having to have like a separate room because I couldn't have stayed in like a 10-bed dorm anymore. I had a separate room. Sometimes like I'd go into the room and I would literally wail out loud, like you know, like when you cry at the top of your lungs and you're like full on wailing.
Yeah.
I would wail because I did not know what to do with myself. I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep, I was sweating. The people would come in, like the maids would come in to clean the room, and I'd be thinking, I need this bed changed, but I cannot get out of the bed.
Yeah, just change it around me, please.
Yeah, so that, and then my laptop broke. I dropped my rehydration sachet in water. I dropped that all over, which is just my luck. Did not have enough money to pay for it because basically it would have cost a lot of money, especially over there as well. So I didn't have enough money to do that. My camera broke. And then I was like, right, when I'm feeling a little bit better, so a week later, I was like, I'm going to go to Thailand because the healthcare over there is a lot better. Went over to Thailand. I was in an earthquake. So I was like, right, I think I need to go home.
Yeah, I think that's my cue to leave.
I was like, I cannot wait for God to give me another reason to leave. I don't know what he's got in store for me next, but I need to go.
I'm ignoring all the signs.
Yeah. So when we were in Asia, George was teaching kids English. So he was teaching Chinese children English over his laptop. He had like a little backdrop and everything. It was dead cute. And I was started on Fiverr, which I don't really recommend. We'll go into that another time because I'm really waffling on now. I am. This podcast.
It's a podcast.
It's going to be like 3 hours long.
Be right.
And yeah, so I was doing illustration there. I was literally charging $20. In the end, it ended up being like £10 after all the fees, like PayPal fees, Fiverr fees. I didn't really enjoy it as much as I should have because I was doing it so much. Like, all I was thinking was all the work I had to do because it was so much and for such little money. Obviously, over there, things are a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to go back and really experience Asia and not have to cut the trip short. I'd really love to go back and not get ill. I'm a bit scared though.
Fingers crossed.
I think if you get dengue fever twice, it's even worse.
Oh, no.
There's a 1% chance of death as well, which is like COVID, I guess. But yeah, so so I basically came home and I was like, I don't want to get a job. I don't want to work for anybody. I'm just sort of going to carry on doing this. So I carried on with Fiverr and then ended up getting more clients outside of Fiverr. Fiverr was so bad. I got so many horrible experiences from it. I ended up just like quitting it. Yeah. And I was just like crying. I was like, this is my main source of income, but I'm going to have to quit. And then I've carried on doing freelance since then. And it's got better and better. And I'm earning a little bit more money each month. It's a bit better. And here I am, yeah.
But you also work at part-time as well, don't you?
Yeah. So I did get to the stage, so probably May this year, so May 2021, I started working at a pub part-time as well, because George basically was paying a little bit more of the rent than me to let my freelance business grow.
Yeah.
And obviously it wasn't growing as fast as I wanted it to because of COVID and loads of different reasons. So in the end, I was like, right, I need to pay my fair share now. So I was like, right, I'm going to go to the pub. I'm going to get a part-time job in the pub, and that's going to pay for my bills. And everything else is going to be for the biz.
You are quite an extroverted person as well, so it helps you kind of get that like human contact, because like we've spoken
100%.
about before, like it is quite lonely. It is quite a lonely job when you're self-employed, especially when you work by yourself, when you don't have anybody working for you as well.
Yeah.
And kind of our workspace is us.
Yeah. Like I end up having conversations with myself. So I got a cat, didn't I? I was like, I'm too lonely. I need a cat for my mental health, because my mental health was really bad last year. Got my cat, Mando, baby boy Mando. Love him so much.
She's currently
in the room at the moment,
just on an exploration around this room now.
And then it made me feel better, but then I was like, right, I need to pay the rent, and I also need to get some sort of social interaction going.
Yeah.
A pub's perfect. So yeah, I'm doing that at the minute, about 10 to 20 hours a week, just to make sure I can cover rent, and then I don't have anything to worry about then. So yeah, and I was kind of ashamed at first. I was like, oh, does this mean I'm failing? But then I was like, no. Like, so I can't remember who it was, but someone told me you should be proud of yourself that you've taken the steps that you need to do to make things better. And I was like, yeah, that's so true. So yeah,
it doesn't take anything away from your credibility as an artist or like an illustrator either. Like, it's just like, realistically, you need to do X, Y, and Z to get by. So why not? You're still creating, you're still making, you still got client work. It's not. It just means now you've just got more stability.
Yeah, I've got more stability and I've got more friends.
Which stability is something that we just don't have.
Yeah.
Well, I personally don't have any kind of stability.
Yeah, me neither.
Financially.
It's ridiculous, and I need to sort it out.
Yeah, me too.
Right, that is definitely me. I waffled on for a long time. I was thinking then, I was like, oh God, I'm going to have to cut quite a bit of this out.
No, don't cut any of it out. I love it all. Love it all.
Right, let's talk about you. That's my mum calling. Goodbye, speak to you tomorrow. Right. Let's do that again. Let's not put that in. She'll be listening like, Laura. So let's hear about you. Tell me everything. I want to know. I want to know it all.
I want to know everything. So I am Roxanne. I go by Foxanne. She's my alter ego. She's everything I want to be. I've recently made that decision as well, to not go by my full name, and to go by Foxanne, because she's an embodiment of who I want to be. So that's Foxanne's a vibe. But yeah, no. So I've been creating since forever.
Yeah.
I used to illustrate sad songs I used to write. I used to, if anybody was on Tumblr in like 2010, I used to illustrate like really sad emo things, like sad quotes, because I was like a little bit of a scene kid back then. I tried to be. I loved it. I used to have like, they were called raccoon tails, like in my hair, so it was like lines in my hair and backcomb it. And
really?
Yeah, I used to have like Care Bears tops and skinny jeans and them studded belts. Oh yeah,
love it.
Young Roxanne was a vibe. Yes, I've always really been creating. Did a lot of not academic I don't like saying that, but like a lot of like dance and art and performance stuff as like is like my GCSEs, rather than doing like triple science, because I like to do things that I enjoy and I felt like I was good at. I was never really comfortable with doing anything like English. I hated English. Like, I just couldn't string a sentence together. I really struggled to read. All the words would kind of jumble up on the page. Whereas like I'm a better at reading now.
Yeah, you read loads.
I read so much. Only in the last year though. I think that's just because I don't have the pressure behind it now. I think the pressure which made it worse. But yeah, then from school went to college and went to sixth form for a year and 2 months. Absolutely hated it. At sixth form I did art, photography, media and dance. I just hated it. I just hated the vibe, because it like sixth form is like school, but just for when you're out of school, whereas like college was more like you called the teachers by the first names and like it was more like a relaxed vibe. But yeah, so once I quit second year, went and started at a college doing UAL at level 3 in art and design. There I kind of went on to become like I was like painting, I was like contemporary artist, and I'd like look into topics about femininity and like relationships and like mental health. I kind of like, it was more about how people think and the psychology behind different things and how we react to certain things and all that good stuff. I'm just interested in all that. But yeah, so then did 2 years at college, and then from then I didn't really know what I wanted to do. Like, I knew that I wanted to stay in education because education was something that I'm very comfortable with. Like, I'm comfortable with the end goal. I'm comfortable with learning, like, okay, so from school I go to this, and then from here I go to this. And right now I'm in a course where the finish line is getting this grade, and I enjoy getting grades. I enjoy this satisfaction of someone telling me that I'm good at what I'm doing. It's like the validation of getting a good grade. So I was always like working like super hard to try and get the best grade I possibly could get. But yeah, no, so once I finished college, like everybody was kind of going to uni or like getting like a full-time job and kind of like making the next step in their life, and I just really didn't know what I wanted to do. Like, I knew that I wanted to be a creative, I just didn't know how to go about it. But I knew that I weren't ready for uni yet. I didn't know where I wanted to go, and I was just struggling. So then I decided just to do a foundation course, which is kind of like, it's a higher qualification than a level 3, but it's not a degree yet. It's kind of like a middle ground degree. Yeah, so then the foundation course is kind of for anybody who's like, once they've done the college, so from like being 18 to older, like whatever age you want to do it, as long as you get accepted all the funding. So in my foundation course, I was getting more and more contemporary. So for example, for my final end of year piece, one of them were, I locked myself in a box because I know that I'm claustrophobic, and I was in there for about 2 hours, and I took a piece of paper and a pen inside with me, and I just drew.
I find that shocking.
Yeah, like it was just, so that's what I mean, like it's, see, some people don't really class that as like art, but it is very contemporary. Like, I was super contemporary. Like, I started like kind of steering away from painting and going more into like performance art or film, like kind of, this is what I mean. So it was kind of taking all of these topics and stuff and creating a piece out of it, and that's what I enjoyed. I enjoyed the notion of getting there rather than the piece looking pretty. So I was super contemporary, and I think from there I was kind of like, right, okay, so I know that I want to go and I want to do a contemporary art course. So then I ended up doing a contemporary art course. The first 2 years, again, super contemporary. I was making films, I was making like really obscure things and installations and a few sculptures, but like I said, it wasn't to look pretty. It was more about the thought process behind it and how people interacted with things. And
well, that is art, isn't it?
Well, yeah,
it's not just looking pretty.
No, but I was really enjoying it, like the uni side, but in the personal life side, it wasn't for me. It was kind of like, so because me and my mum were very close, and my mum had looked after me for like so much, and she would kind of like not sheltered me but kind of a little bit sheltered me when I kind of got free reign at uni from going to like my mum being, oh no, it's okay, let's not do that, oh come on, let's like do you know what I mean, to then having been in charge of my own life, because I think I went to uni late, so I started when I was like 21.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, so I had my 21st birthday in my first year of uni. Right. So I was older than like everybody by a couple of years, but I was like, it was like the first sense of like freedom I'd have, so I just went mad with it. I was drinking all the time. Like, I ended up getting like a very unhealthy attachment to alcohol, which we'll probably speak about in a future episode. But yeah, no, so it weren't the best place for me, and I weren't reacting well to it. But then as soon as but I worked part-time as well. I was working like 16 hours a week in retail, so it was so full on. But even though I was like performing well for uni, I weren't performing well in my personal life. I weren't really looking after myself. So after the second year, we got the option to do a placement year. So I was like, let's get a placement year done. Let's take a year out and try and like figure out what it is that I want to do, use this year wisely, so then when I go back for final year and it's for the most important year, I'll be fine. So I thought, let's do a placement in teaching, because I thought, well, nobody's going to make money from art, so obviously you're going to have to be a teacher, because what else are you going to do as a creative profession? I mean, little did she know.
I get you.
But it's like society, that's what society make you think, like, oh, if you're a creative, you're either a teacher or you're rich. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
But there's no point in doing it if you're not rich.
Yeah.
which
as a
doesn't make
hobby.
sense. And a
If you
hobby, yeah, and
yeah.
it doesn't really like, it doesn't make sense, but I didn't really know anybody else who were doing that.
Yeah.
So I couldn't really have anybody to speak to or listen to anything. I didn't know where to listen to it. But yeah, no, so did a year at college, absolutely hated it. It was not for me.
Really?
But this was just like, so it was kind of like being a teacher was like my one and only chance of doing something creative. So I was kind of like really disheartened by it. So I was working part-time at a coffee shop as well as doing this placement. And it just, because kids have to stay in college until they're 18 now, I think a lot of students are now thinking, oh, let's choose art because it's the easiest subject.
And is that what you sort of experienced when you were teaching it?
Yeah. So I taught all different levels, but the class that I really enjoyed the most was foundation degree, because obviously people were doing it because they wanted it to go to uni or they wanted to do something with it. So I could have, and they were older as well, so I could have like a genuine conversation with them. And like when I was up at the front, like presenting or teaching, or when I go around and do like one-to-ones with them, they were genuinely interested in what I had to say. Whereas the younger kids, obviously some of them are doing it because they think it's easy or they don't really know what they want to do, so they just thought, oh well, my mum and dad have made me go to college, so let's just draw.
Yeah.
Because I used to have that. I used to be like, come up, like you need to listen, like I'm presenting something. I would be like an artist, like in-depth research of artists. I'd presenting like Louise Bourgeois or something like that, and they'd be like, can I not just paint? It's like,
no.
no, because we have, it's not
syllabus.
just a free-for-all painting class.
Yeah.
Like we have a structure and things that we have to go down, which kind of I found quite disheartening. So yeah, so that year that I took out, I wanted to create, couldn't really create anything. I didn't really have the time, didn't really have the space because of where I was living. But for all of my life, I've used art as like a vice to kind of cope. But because that was taken away from me, I didn't really know what to do with myself.
Mm-hmm.
I found that I was really, really struggling with it. Yeah, so I said to Max, I was like, I really want to do art again, but I don't really have the space to paint. I can't really get paint anywhere. It's hard. So I was like, I might get into like try and do something digital. So Max was like, yeah, that sounds good. So he bought me like a really cheap like Wacom tablet. It weren't a Wacom one, it was just kind of the vibe, do you know what I mean, like a digital tablet. Yeah. And I started drawing on it, and I was like, oh, I quite like this because I can get stuff done without having to clean up afterwards.
Yeah, that is a very good point.
So, and it was something that, and like I said, like I said at the beginning, I enjoy like learning new things, and it was a new skill that I was like working on and building on, but it was still creative. Mm-hmm. And it fit a purpose. It fit me not having the space or the ability to like be messy and paint or like create something or create film. So yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I started making it, and then I started making prints. Didn't sell any of them. I bought like 400 prints and sold 3.
400?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it was bad. But I didn't really, at this point, it was just kind of using my personal Instagram and kind of uploading a picture every now and again. So it was just kind of friends that I was reaching.
Yeah. Or
like family who followed me on Instagram. So I weren't necessarily like marketing it as a business. It was more like, oh, I'll sell some if I want to sell some. But like I said, I weren't finished with uni. I still had a year left.
It's good that you didn't put too much pressure on yourself.
Yeah. But like I said, it was a new skill, and I was seeing people online like selling prints, and I thought, oh, that's dead easy, that. I'll sell some prints. But yeah, no, so then I ended up finishing up that year and being like, right, I have no idea what I'm going to do, because teaching was my last and only hope. I have no idea how I'm going to get a creative job. Like, I don't know how to get a creative job. Like, I don't know how to do industry or anything like that. So I just went back to uni, and I was like, and then when I went away from uni being the super contemporary artist, went back to uni, and my tutor was like, why are you not making these like obscure films anymore or these installations? I was like, I don't really want to anymore. Like, I don't want to do it for the sake of doing it, because obviously I'd left second year of uni being this super contemporary artist and going back to wanting to just illustrate things. They was like, yeah, but you're on a contemporary art course. And I was like, I relate more to being an illustrator now. Like, I've made a completely like 180 switch. They didn't like it, obviously, them being contemporary artists themselves. So I was like, oh, all right, okay. So then there were talks about me switching classes, but there was like, because finally, obviously, so first year of uni is a pass or fail. So if you pass, you kind of get on to second year. If you fail, you have to redo first year again. I think that's how it works.
Yeah.
And then the mark that you get for second year is 33% of your final year grade in the course that I did.
Yeah.
And then final year, you've got your final piece, which is like your art piece, and then you've got your 12,000 word essay. There is like, but because you've already done your second year in contemporary art, it's very hard to kind of like cater that over to illustration. And because I was just starting out as well, there was like, what we're going to do is we're going to try and like work out a way where we can still have you as a contemporary art student, but you can kind of implement your illustration techniques and styles. So I decided not to live in Huddersfield this time, like I did with the first 2 years. I decided to move in with Max and his mum, and then commute. So I was getting the train there, which was good for me really, because I've said to you in the past I have really bad like anxiety about travel and like going places, and I hate being out of control. So when like trains don't turn up, like it really panics me, and I'm like, oh my god, I don't know how I'm going to get there. And so it was good for me because it made me do stuff that was out of my comfort zone. And then I was only there for maybe like the first, so we started in September, and then the UK went into lockdown in March, so everything went online.
How did that work with an art course?
So we had group chats about stuff, and we just have one-to-one chats with tutors, and just I think it was like in total from March until I think it was like March, April, May, June, July. I think there was 5 months, because art courses kind of end earlier, don't they, than normal courses. So I think my final hand-in for my dissertation was like June.
Yeah.
And then once you've kind of handed in your dissertation, like that's it. I think I had like 4 chats with them for that whole 5 months, and they'd just be like, all right, what you doing? All right, yes, sound, right, yes, sick, amazing. And then kind of like, oh, do you need any help? But then because I was still struggling, because I've really represented myself as an illustrator now, and so Instagram was starting to like build up and stuff. Let's rewind actually. So I started September 2019 was when I started my final year, and then Instagram were kind of starting. I went from like nothing to like 1,500 followers, which obviously followers aren't everything, but I'd like worked so hard to try and build a platform and somewhere where I can post my art. I started posting more of my illustrations up, and people wanted more, so I kind of been like, right, okay, this is something that I'm good at then.
For sure.
Thank you. But
we all know it.
But yeah, no, so then I was getting really stressed out because I was trying to juggle, trying to build an online business, trying to get my final degree, and then also working like part-time. But obviously when you work in retail or a coffee shop, it starts off part-time, but then like, oh, can you do this day, can you do that day, can you do this day? And I'm like, no. So yeah, no, so my mother-in-law sat me down and she was like, if it's stressing you out that much, honestly, I don't mind like taking the pressure off, quit your job. Like, you don't have to pay me anything, like it's all right, like you just work on yourself and you work on your business. She was like, because this is stressing you out too much, and
that's so nice.
One of them's gonna break.
Yeah.
And she was like, and that's the one that you can realistically drop.
Yeah.
Which obviously was in like such a privileged position to be in, because not everybody was in a position like that. But yeah, so I quit my job in November 2019. Concentrated more on, so this was pre-lockdown, concentrated more on Instagram, and obviously I was going to uni and stuff, and just kind of just trying to figure out what the fuck I was gonna do. Because I was like, I've gone away, and in like a contemporary artist came back, an illustrator, and they was like, I don't know what to do with you, pal. I don't know what you want from me. And I was like, I don't know what I want from you either. But yeah, no, so then went into lockdown in March, and then like I said, it was just kind of trying to battle with how I basically asked him at the end of it, I was like, what boxes do I need to tick to be able to, because I'd got such good grades my first and second year.
Yeah.
I didn't want this year to let me down. It was like, what boxes do I need to tick? And it was like, ideally what you need to do is you need to kind of carry on the themes that you were using, but you can do it in an illustrative style. And I was like, fine. So obviously I was doing more like the sex and porn and stuff, but I was making like it was still contemporary, because I'd be like, right, so the piece would be a protest, and this is what the art piece would be, but it would use my illustrations for the posters and stuff like that. So it was like, this is how we can kind of gel the both of them together.
Yeah. So it's basically like contemporary illustration, basically.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So so I ended up getting a first.
Love it. Congratulations.
I know. I did. My dissertation was about, I think it was called Sex, Porn and a Guilt-Free Wank.
Love it.
It was about ethical porn and art and how they're connected. I know. Love that. And then because we was in the middle of lockdown, because people usually have like closure with the graduation. Not at a graduation. So there was no really...
Did you have a graduation now?
No, apparently I can go to one in January, but it's like the last 2 years worth of people going graduating. I was like, you know what, I'm over it now. Like, I'm done.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, so people usually have that kind of closure. I had no closure. It was just one day I was in uni and next minute I weren't, but I was still doing the same thing because we were still in lockdown.
Yeah.
Oh, God. I feel like I'm waffling. Yeah, so then Instagram was just popping. I said to Max once I quit, I was like, I'm going to probably have to look for another job. And then I just started getting client work and building on stuff. I think first I did some family members' businesses, logos, and then I realised, oh, actually I can do this. I quite like this. Like I have an eye for it. Because that's it. Like I said before, like it all like gels into each other. Like because I was like painting, like trained, and then like I was fine art, and then I kind of went into contemporary. I have like a rounded knowledge, and I think for me personally, obviously it's not, you can take this as yours. I don't mean to say this in like a dickhead way to say it, but like I think I have an interesting perspective because I've gone from contemporary to illustration.
Yeah.
I have an eye for things, but like it's kind of like an obscure way of looking at illustration as well, if that makes sense. I've not gone from like, this is how you draw like a technical drawing to illustration. It's like, oh, I've made these weird obscure films to then illustration, which I think is a nice perspective on it.
Yeah, definitely. Like how many people have done that?
Yeah, it is different, but it is, because that's what I was questioning. So obviously because I was like illustrative and I was felt more like an illustrator, I couldn't necessarily apply for illustrators jobs with a contemporary art degree.
Maybe you could have.
Maybe I could have, but I was telling myself that I couldn't. So so then I ended up just doing some branding work for some family members, like dead cheap, and then I started like doing like building on my portfolio, and then next thing I know, I'm just like I was earning more a month for my art than what I was doing part-time at a coffee shop. So I was like, do you know what, let's just carry on and see where this goes. And Max was like, you may as well. So like with my last bit of student loan, I bought myself a Mac.
Love it.
So I was like,
you gotta do it.
Yeah, so I was like, I may as well. So then that's where it is. I think Instagram is just, it's been like a massive help from Instagram now, like quotes, because I haven't said this, but I'm an illustrator. I do some animations. I would like to get into mural and window work, but we'll leave that for next year. I just do a bit of everything. I'm very digital. I would like to get back into painting, but I don't know if I've got the energy to be able to clean up after myself. I quite like not having to clean it. I'll just shut my laptop and I'm done.
Maybe get an assistant. If you're doing any like painting work, like if you're doing murals, get an assistant.
What, that cleans up after me.
Yeah.
So I never really know what to call myself. Like I've done a few podcasts as guests and they're like, oh, so introduce yourself. I'm like, hey, I'm Roxanne. I make things. I sound like, do you remember, was that apparently? Have you watched that with that ginger kid on Ellen was like, apparently I've been here before, apparently.
I've not seen that, but I need to.
Now I'm going to show you after this. Oh, it's such a cute little kid. It's like, apparently. Or is it apparently you say it? I think so. But yeah, no, I never really know what to introduce myself as. I never really...
You're like you said to me before, you're an all-round creative. I
am an all-round creative
girl. You're just a creative gal.
I'm very insecure as a person. Like not. I don't think insecure is the right word. Maybe it is, but I'm not very confident with certain things. But I know that I'm good at art. It's the one thing where I'm like, no, I have an eye for this. It's like, I don't know who I was telling this to actually. I think it might have been Max. I was like, it's like when you take inspiration from around you. Like when I look at buildings, I look at the composition, I look at how like the light reflects from things. I don't just see the building for the building. I'm like, I take inspiration, be like, oh, I like how those two colours look together, and I'll make a mental note of that. Or like my notes app is just full of like this, or pictures of just random stuff. But I don't know, it's just something I enjoy. It's something I don't know how I've fluked making money off it. I mean, not a lot of money.
Don't be silly.
But still, it
You've
is
not fluked
good.
it.
But I do enjoy it. I think Eloise up now. But yeah, no. So then carrying on, I opened a shop. I started selling stuff. So I opened the shop about 2 years ago, and then recently I've made the very sad but kind of exciting decision to shut the shop because financially I'm not really making anything out of it. I've looked at my finances and I was like, I'm putting so much money into this for nothing back, really. I was having next to no sales. I told myself, I was like, I don't mind if I don't make any money off it. It's just my passion project.
Yeah.
But my passion project was starting to get very expensive, and I was buying more stock because I was seeing all these other brands being like, oh, new stock every month or new stock every other month, and I tried to keep up with that.
Yeah.
Because people want freshness. People want new stuff all the time, which it's not
necessarily. I feel like sometimes, you know, when they say, like, if you have like an Instagram ad, a customer has to see you 7 times before they buy something.
Yeah.
Sometimes someone will see something a year
Maybe
before.
that's where I went wrong.
And then make the decision to buy.
Yeah.
Like, and I feel like it's really easy. Like, I do the same thing with my shop. I compare to a lot of other people. And yeah, it's very difficult not to, for sure.
I do try to not to though, but it is hard. But yeah, no, so I'm shutting the shop. Hopefully it's going to give me more money so I can have more of like a stable income, because I was like, I've been having a stable income for the past 6 months, but I've not been seeing it because it's all just been going, right, and now I've got this money, and now let's get some new products out there. Now let's pay for Facebook ads. Now let's pay for packaging and stickers and this and that. Do you know what I mean? But I'm thinking, do you know what? I've got a massive sale on. When this goes live, the sale might probably be still up. Everything will probably be £1 by then. Just so I can get rid.
Yeah.
I've had some questions as well about being like, oh, are you bringing them back? Or like, what are you doing? I'm like, as of now, I'm not thinking about opening a shop again. We don't know. Like you say never.
Yeah, never say never.
Let's quote Justin Bieber. I'm excited to see when this comes out, it'll be January, but like what 2022 brings. I think I know. I'm manifesting good vibes, new opportunities.
Yeah. And we were saying, weren't we, 2022, we've both got a really good feeling about it. We've both got a great feeling about it.
Like, I'd love to see where this goes. Like, I would love to do, like, a live one where we had, like, quite a few little panel guests on.
That makes me nervous.
Because the plan for this, let's quickly just... I think I've rounded up what I wanted to say about Miss N.
That was fabulous, by the way. Loved every minute. I'm not being sarcastic. Sometimes people say to me, but just so you know, right, especially if you're not seeing the video, someone said this to me at work, Cassie said this to me at work, she went, sometimes I just don't know if you're being sarcastic or not, like, because she'll say, oh, can you do this? And I go, oh yeah, of course. Like, she'll say, oh, can I go for a cig break? And I'm like, oh, you enjoy yourself. But I'm so camp with it that it sounds sarcastic, but I'm genuinely being enthusiastic, like.
Yeah.
I
get that, but I know what you like. So it's kind of like, because you're very like peppy and cheery, but sometimes because we're British and because we're English, everybody's kind of a bit like, Do you know what I mean? So when anybody's a bit like, overly top polite, I was like, you're right. But yeah, no. So I was saying that like, I have a really good feeling about this podcast. Obviously, this is the first episode, but I have good vibes about it. Like, I tend to like sense things, and I do think that this potentially could, if we work dead hard,
and we will,
because of who we are, we don't do things by halves. I hope everybody enjoys it as well. I think that's it. If you guys who are listening enjoy it, the more likely we are to carry on doing it.
Yeah, and it's fun anyway. Obviously, this is the second time that we've been filming, and I've just really enjoyed every minute, even though we've had to do it again. It's kind of exciting that we've got to do it again, you know?
Yeah, have we mentioned about having to re-record?
I think so, somewhere in there. We had to re-record because the microphones were terrible.
Yeah, so we've forked out some money for some decent mics.
And we're buzzing with them, aren't we?
I'm so buzzing. I am living my best life.
Yeah.
Because the last mics were just not great. We sounded like we was recording a voice recording, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? It was dead like tinny, and like we'd be dead quiet, and then all of a sudden we'd like scream into the mic, but we hadn't changed our voices.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So I hope you're all enjoying the audio quality of this.
I hope it's good. Imagine I start editing it and it's horrible again.
No, it won't be. I'm not doing that.
So we've decided that at the end of every episode, we're either going to do a listener question or listener questions.
Yep.
Or we're going to go onto Reddit and get some sort of situation. Maybe it's design or, you know, based in our industry. Maybe it's not. And just sort of like give you our take on it, sort of thing. So Roxanne's just finding a Reddit one now. Obviously, we've not asked for any listener questions just yet.
Also, let me just... use this time to explain something. This podcast is going to be us two talking. We're going to have guests on. If you would like to be a guest, in the Instagram bio, on our Instagram, of course, there is a Google Docs form where you can fill it out and you can potentially be a guest on here. Whether you're a creative or you just have something to say and feel like you just want a platform to say it. Yeah, you can either do it. So if you are local to Manchester, we would love to have you here.
We'll get
sitting
an extra
in
microphone.
human. Yeah, obviously COVID restrictions pending. We can do it over Zoom as well, which we're not bothered about that. So if you do want to be on it or you want some more information, just drop us a DM.
Yeah, just let us know. That would be amazing.
So I have a Reddit post that I'd like to know your opinion on. I've read the first, so on Reddit, if you don't know, you have a title and then it kind of goes into more depth. So I've read the title. I'm like, So it's, am I the arsehole for wanting to charge my family members for illustration services? So my sister-in-law messages me about her godchild's birthday coming up. She wants me to do an illustration for her post on Facebook. I've been there to go for a small photo editing project ever since I agreed to do their wedding photos for them free of charge, of course. Also, don't add of course onto that. No. I felt like it isn't fair that they keep asking me to do things every month or so because I don't ask them for any favours. They fall through if I ever ask them to do something. They say all the things I help them with is great for exposure, but they're not influencers or anything, but they do post about it on Facebook a lot. So this time I thought about it. It's hard for me to stand up for myself, so I took some thought and said, okay, I'll do it, but I have to charge you this time, thinking that was a reasonable way to say it.
Yeah.
But it maybe seemed a bit harsher than expected. She was shocked, but in all seriousness told me she's got lots of Monopoly money to spare. She made me think she doesn't appreciate or value the things I do. Adobe subscriptions are not cheap. Oh, so it sounds like she says, oh, I haven't got any Monopoly money, as if like
money the money that trees sort of thing.
So the money that she wants is Monopoly money. Like it's, I don't know. She used this to accuse me of only caring about money, and she sent me a breakdown of all the nice things she did for me free of charge. I was confused. It was spinning out of control, so I've since apologised. It's not my intention to make it a family destroying issue, but it was just a boundary issue. I did not get an apology back. But at least now they're not asking me to do favours. It's a bit cold though, as they're not nice to me as they normally are. And I didn't think it would have blown up like this. I just want to know though, if the way I handled it, am I the arsehole? What should I have done differently, and what should I do about the cold shoulder now?
Right. First thing I'm going to say, if she was an accountant and they had 2 businesses, and every month they said, can you do our accounting for us? Would they expect her to do that if she was doing it full time? Would they expect her to do that for free?
No.
Well, and if they did, they are definitely the arsehole.
No, and it's like plumbers as well. It's like you wouldn't ask if someone's a plumber to be like, who's a family member, wouldn't be like, oh, will you come and plumb my bathroom in, but I'm not going to pay. Like, that's it. Like, it's, I feel like art and illustration is seen as this like hobby thing, so it's like, oh yeah, but you just like, it's even going a little bit off topic, but it's even now like I'll have strangers come into my inbox being like, oh, I'd love an illustration of me and my dog or something, and I'll be like, oh, it's this much. Oh, you charge? And it's like
shocking. It's like, well, you enjoy it and it's fun work, so therefore it's not work. Like, people don't see creative jobs as work, and that just shows it. That's so awful. And the thing is, she was nice about it. She laid down her boundaries, and they didn't respect her boundaries, so I would cut them off. Or try. Obviously, sometimes it's not as simple as that with families. But if they're being so disrespectful about her boundaries, then they don't deserve her time. No. That's really upset me. That's horrible.
I know, and I think as well, it's kind of like you try and help people out and help family, because there's certain stuff that I've done for free for family members and stuff. Oh, me too, yeah. But then I've also got other family members that are like, oh no, don't take any money off it. Like, I want to pay you the full amount because I'm supporting you. Yeah. But I've had other family members that are like, oh, but can I have friends and family discount? And it depends. Like it's all about me being in control, because I'm the person giving. I should be the person who's in control of how much 100%. So if I say to a family member, oh, what do you feel about this, me doing this illustration for you? You don't have to charge, of course. Like, I'm not going to charge you. They'd be like, all right, but if they came to me and was like, oh, I want you to do this illustration, I want you to do it for free, that's where it's different, because I'm not in control of it.
I think that's exactly the same for clients as well, because you're the one that's doing the work, you're the one that should be laying down the boundaries.
Exactly.
So, like, if she'd gone to them and said, I want to do this for free for you, fair enough. But she's turned around and said, look, I am going to have to charge because it takes a long time, or blah, 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 whatever. She's laid down her boundaries. If they're not happy with her boundaries, they could have easily turned around and said, okay, you don't have to do it then. We don't want to pay, but we're not going to ask you to do it, which is still a bit shitty.
Yeah, but still, you just like, all right, okay, I understand that you want to be paid, but I'm not in a position to have that money right now, or...
Yeah.
Oh, maybe we could even set up a payment plan, or some, do you know what I mean? Something, or if they turn around and there's like, oh, well, because it sounds like they don't really do anything for the illustrator. So if there was like, oh, well, instead of like monetary things, because I've done that, I've been like, right, well, I'll do this illustration for you, and then you, next time I see you, get me tea. Do you know what I mean? Or something like that. So it's not necessarily paying cash.
Yeah.
But like, that's it. But if she's like, all right, yeah, I'm going to charge for this, and they're not happy with it, there's so many other ways that, like I said, they could have gone about it. They could have said, oh, well, do you want to do a trade? Do you want to do this? We'll do this for you. We'll do that. Or, oh, we'll set up a payment plan. Or even just go, oh, what? I'm a little bit shocked because, or not a little bit shocked, but just be like, oh, I thought you would do it for free because you've done everything else for free, but I completely understand that you now want to charge. That's fine. Like, let's leave it, or something like that. But it's the fact that they've like brought up everything that they've done, and it's the fact that, oh, but in all seriousness, told me that she's got lots of Monopoly money to spare.
I feel like that's very manipulative.
That is.
And the fact that they're giving her the cold shoulder now is so out of order.
That's equating illustrations being equal to Monopoly money as well, to me personally.
Yeah, it's not worth anything.
Yeah,
that's basically what she's saying. Well, if it's not worth anything and you want to put it on Facebook or whatever, you do it yourself. And if she can't do it, then that just shows that it is worth money.
Well, yeah, and I can't imagine it like obviously we don't know. I can't really imagine her charging a lot, because
That's
if she's already uncomfortable like charging, she wouldn't charge a lot. But yeah, so all the comments saying that she's not the arsehole. I don't think she's the arsehole, do you?
Thank God. I do not. Definitely not.
Someone's put, fuck the starving artist, I'll give you exposure bullshit. You are providing a service / goods, and you deserve more goddamn money. Mm-hmm. Also, if you were in any other industry, this wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's have a look, see what other people are saying.
Was that the top comment?
That was the top comment, yeah. And then someone's put, and then he's put, edit, I stand corrected, it seems to happen to everybody, because someone's put that he's a computer engineer and he always gets people asking him to do stuff for free. I just think...
I can't even ever imagine asking somebody to do something for me for free.
No.
But maybe that's because I've been on the other side. No, I don't think I ever would have asked anyone to do anything for free. I'm more likely to do something for free than to ask for it, I think.
Oh, so she's put, so this is the girl. So someone's asked her saying, what are the things that they're asking to do for you? No. That isn't what that
they
says.
do for her.
She says, what are the things they were doing for you? So she's put, so she reserves a time spot for the family to go apple picking pre-COVID, but I got there in my own vehicle and paid my own entry. The other thing she mentioned was a Thanksgiving dinner, but I helped with the pies and the preparation, like cutting up vegetables and seasonings, so she just had to mix it together. Then she said that she always includes me on her errands when she's got a long day planned and she needs company because she hates driving alone at night. There's psychiatric help for when I call her to vent out about my problems, and then inviting me for barbecues with the rest of her family. That's cost of food. And now some of the things I've asked them for that made me not bother going for them for favours were yard chores. She would never do any labour of any kind. Packing away the Christmas tree as the tree irritates my skin. The taking a good photo of me. I never took these things personally because I could just do them all myself given the time. So they've commented back saying, so pretty much all of the nice things she's doing for you is including viewing family activities. Which it is.
Yeah, but I'm sorry. That's surely that would happen anyway. It should happen anyway.
It's so, like, I find family, like, obviously everybody's family is so different and so weird. And obviously, we do have to preface this. When we are reading these Reddit stories, we are only hearing one side of the story.
Yeah.
But I don't know how that could be any different. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like, I don't know how. And then someone's put, not the arsehole, please don't tell me you apologised and do it for her. Just ignore her request from now on. Don't be a doormat. And then OP's put, I apologise because I thought all the fuss she was making was proportional to how bad I messed up for trying to draw a line. It went out of control, blaming me for stuff not relevant anymore. So I suppose I got a true view of what they think of me. Now I'm upset and I apologised. But if I didn't, she'd still be screaming at me right now.
Wow.
So worry not, I didn't. I think she was expecting me to after everything, but I didn't. So to me, it sounds like, so someone's put, what? So she screams at you? She's like, yeah. So to me, it sounds like there was obviously something there before and they've used this as an excuse. Like, I don't think this is down to, I think they've been using her for what they wanted out of her. And then now she's set her boundaries. They're like,
see ya.
So do you have any last thoughts on that? If she was sat here right now, what advice would you give her?
I would say stop doing things for free. Only ever do things for free if you want to. Like if you want to expand your portfolio or if you want to get in touch with, let's say, a really big brand or a big influencer, do something for them for free, because then you know that their exposure is going to be really amazing. But exposure on a family member's Facebook is not. No, they could just be posting your... they should be posting your stuff anyway, and it shouldn't have to be... Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm babbling on. I don't know. I need to cut that
out. Everything you said was fine.
I think she needs to stop being a doormat, but that was me once. I took everything. I did things for free. I cried, even though it was my fault. To an extent, it was my fault. I reckon she just needs to stop doing things for free. And if anybody asks, even if it is a big brand, don't ever do it, because it should always be on your terms.
Yeah. Well, that's it. It's on, that's I think that's the issue that we've got. It wasn't on her terms. Then when she did set her terms, it was like, no.
And then it's not worth it.
Ignored.
Yeah. It should always be in your best interest. If you're going to do work, it should always be in the best interest for you. Always. If it's in the best interest for somebody else and it leaves you feeling like shit, don't do it. It's not worth it. No matter what, Definitely even if you're desperate. Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I think the same. Just like, I think it says a lot when you, especially with family members, it says a lot when you do set your boundaries and you do set your limits and your lines and like what you expect from people and they don't meet it. I think that speaks volumes. Because I feel like if you genuinely respected somebody, you would respect them to be like, oh, I respect your craft. But there's no respect there, personally. No. I don't think there is. And I think they use that as an excuse to just go mad at her from what she said. Like, because when they were having the argument about her wanting to charge for it, they then brought up things that weren't even relevant. So to me, it just seemed like they just wanted an excuse to go mad at her.
Yeah.
But 100%. Yeah, no, I think I'd give her a hug.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be all right. Like,
yeah,
we all go through stuff like this at the beginning, especially with like family members, and because it is that blurred line as well of being like, oh, I want that, but I don't want to pay for it because. But yeah. No.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I want to give her a hug too and tell her it's all going to be okay. I was just like, don't do it for free. Stop being a doormat. But yeah, I'd show her some love as well, for sure.
So what I wanted to ask you was what you're working on currently.
So what I'm working on currently. So I'm not working on anything at the moment. I'm just concentrating on my shop. I've been doing the market. So I've been doing a lot of makers markets. I've got my last 2 of the year next weekend. So I'm doing, which ones am I doing? Wilmslow on Saturday the 18th and West Didsbury on Sunday the 19th. And I'm hoping to go into January and try and get on some of the markets that I haven't been able to. Yeah. Because a lot of traders don't do January. No. Because it's so quiet. So if I can try and get into the best ones like Northern Quarter and Cholton.
And get used to it.
Yeah, if I can try and get in there in January, then hopefully I can become a permanent trader.
Yeah.
Because normally when you've done one, then they'll send you the invite after, like the next day. So fingers crossed. But yeah, that's what I'm working on at the moment. It's a bit of busy December, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, always is,
especially
though.
for you. Yeah. Well, yeah, like client work kind of dies down a little bit from maybe like December to February. So like my books are pretty much kind of open. But yeah, no, I'm not really working on anything client based. It's all prepping and planning. This December's for planning for the new year, trying to get like figure out what I want to do in my website, try and get a portfolio up, 'cause I don't actually have a portfolio right now, and get on like LinkedIn and try and just get my head around that, so it's less design work and more
networking, because
that
is important, planning. Isn't it?
Well, yeah, it is. And I think especially like I'm going through like a bit of a rebrand at the minute and trying to figure out what I want my business to be, because I want it to be less of a shop and more of like a personal thing, so it is me, if that makes sense.
I can't wait to see what you create.
I know, neither can I.
It's going to be amazing.
I cannot wait. So I think right now it's just I'm just planning stuff. I've not really like I said, not really got any client work on, because nobody really wants client work in December, because I was doing Christmas designs in June. You know what I mean? So it's like they'll probably, after maybe like February and stuff, maybe people like my regulars will come back. That's what usually happens. But yeah, no, I'm not really doing that. I think
that's like, nice.
I'm not really doing anything.
No, but I like that, because I really want to make sure. I was telling George yesterday, I said I'm going to take some time off at Christmas, and he was like, oh, yeah, like he was so I was like, that makes me really sad, because I've been working so much. And you do as a freelancer, don't you? Like when you've got your own business, you work a bit too much sometimes. Like, because it's always on your mind, especially like I've got, I work from home, so I'm always switched on. So he was like, what? He was like, taking some time off. I was like, yeah. And he said, can you let me know when? And I was like, because he's a teacher, I was like, I'll just take the time off when you're off. So that'll be nice.
And well, Max is the same. So Max is also self-employed. He's a gardener, and he can't do certain gardening jobs when it's pissing it down. So usually he has kind of like a few weeks off in January going into February, because then it's kind of the weather starts to get better again in February. So I've said, I'm like, I think I'm just gonna try and just chill for a bit, because 2022 for me is going to be all about saving.
And before you know it, you're going to be really busy again.
Yeah, exactly. I just want to save as much money as I can, try and be financially stable. I think when I grow up, I'm 26, but I'm like, when I grow up, I want to be financially stable.
I'm exactly the same.
So I hope you've enjoyed. This is the end of episode 1. I hope you enjoyed that. I think we've waffled on quite a bit.
Yes, so you should know quite a bit about us. If you've made it to the end, wow, you're a real one.
You're a real one.
That sounded weird coming out of my mouth. Don't think I've ever said that. You're a real one. Oh my God, you're a real...
What is this accent? Like, what accent was that? What is this accent? I don't know. I hope you enjoyed it. I really enjoy doing this.
I do. It's just nice having a chat.
It's vibes, just vibing, isn't it? Just all the good vibes. So you can head over to our Instagram at Do It For Yourself Podcast, where you can then find our profiles. What's your Instagram?
So my Instagram is my full name, including my middle name. I do not know why I did it. Actually, no, I do. It's because it made me sound fancy. But now when everyone asks me, what's your Instagram? I'm like, oh God, give me your phone, I'll type it in. So it's Laura, Laura, Francis. Basically, it's the country France with an E, S at the end. I can't spell out loud. Oh no, actually, I can look up my name here. It's an ADHD thing. I can't spell out loud unless I see it on the page. So it's Laura Frances Heitzman, Laura Frances, and Heitzman, the big one, Heitzman. That is me. But we'll put it in the show notes and in the YouTube description, so you don't have to type it out.
Mine is just Foxanne _ short and sweet.
Much better than mine.
Oh God, I know. I think it used to be my full name, but then I changed it to Foxanne because that's what I used to call myself.
I love it. I love it so much.
I love it as well. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope the sound quality is good, and I'd like to know where you've listened to this.
Yes.
I'd like to know that. I think that's good. So let us know on Instagram, drop us a DM, or just comment on our last picture or something like that. Let us know where you watch us.
Or even comment on, if you watch on YouTube, comment
on YouTube. But yeah, no, so we'll see you next time.
Yeah, see you next time. Thanks so much for watching.
Bye.
Or listening. Thanks so much for listening. Bye.